How's it going, my dreamers? This is Born to Dream, here with a draft recap of the solo league that I'm currently running for my local Discord community. Basically, the reason why I am making this video is because I love to see others try this, because I absolutely love this idea. As soon as I learned about this, I immediately jumped on it, and I had a few others that jumped on as well. And we managed to get a 24-person league, and we got this whole thing running now, thanks to that Gamepress article that I will leave in the description down below. But basically, if you don't know what a solo league is, a solo league is a league where you basically solo a bunch of level 3s, and you hold a draft, so that way, like, everybody's on the same playing field, basically. In all reality, not everybody's on the same playing field, but the idea is to, you know, make it even. Anyways, you have a draft. You go through this draft, and you have, you know, all these people make their picks, and then as soon as you're done picking, you jump into whatever raid boss you're expected to solo that week. So let's say week 1 is Machamp. Everybody's gonna solo Machamp that week. And then whoever gets the best time against Machamp gets a certain amount of points. At least that's how it works in our league. So like first place will get like 10 points, second will get like 8, etc, etc, etc. And you just do this for a couple of weeks, and whoever has the most points at the end basically wins. So it's a fun competition, and what I love about it is usually, like, let's say you're doing like a fantasy sports league, right? Really, when you're doing a fantasy sports league, what ends up happening is whoever drafts the best and whoever makes the best trades usually wins, right? I mean, there's a little bit of luck that goes into it. Like if your star player gets injured and is out for the season, that kind of sucks. But outside of that, generally speaking, it's like whoever drafts the best and whoever makes the best trades wins. By the way, there's no trading in my league, but I'm just saying. In this league, it's a little different because you're limited by so much, because you're using your own roster. And by the way, this is like all unique Pokemon, so you can't run in with, like, you know, like say you draft Gengar, you can't run in with 6 Gengars. Like, you can only use 1 Gengar. And so you're limited by Stardust, you're limited by TMs. If you're doing this, you probably will spend a few TMs doing a league like this, because you're going to want to switch between moves a lot depending on what raid boss you're soloing that week. And you're limited by rare candies if you draft legendaries, or rare Pokemon that you just don't have easy access to. So it's cool in that, like, I guess not everybody is on the same playing field, but I mean, it's interesting to see just how, like, people approach the draft, I guess. Like, for example, I had like somebody in this draft who just refuses to max out anything that's not perfect. Like, they were playing when maps were around, and they just refused to max out anything that's not perfect. And so he was drafting like that. It was kind of interesting seeing how he picked, you know? And then I have other people in this draft. They missed certain legendaries, right? So they missed like Groudon, or they missed like Raikou, or they missed Rayquaza, or some of those legendaries, and you try to see, like, okay, how do they sort of navigate that, and, you know, try to still do well even though they didn't pick those, or they didn't raid those certain meta Pokemon. So you're basically limited to what you have, but that's kind of the fun of it. And also the fun in doing this is just maxing out stupid stuff. So, like, for example, I picked Shiftry, so I'm going to have a maxed out Shiftry because of this league. And Seedots are stupid common, so that's maxing one out is not a problem at all. But I'll have a maxed out Shiftry after this league is done. And there's, I mean, you guys can probably see it on the list right now. There's a few other Pokemon that would be pretty funny to max out, and people will be maxing them out because of this league. So I love this idea, and that's why I'm doing a YouTube video on it, because I would love to see more people doing this. If you are currently running, or you're in a league sort of like this, let me know in the comment section down below. Currently my league is completely full, so if you're thinking about trying to join in, sorry, we're full. I try to keep it as local as possible too, because I think if you do that, then it's sort of evens the playing field a little better, because everybody's playing with the same weather, for example. So like if you had like one guy in California and one guy in New York, right? What might be clear for the person in New York, what might be clear weather for the person in New York might be cloudy weather for the person. I'm sorry, hold up. For the person that is in California, they're playing in clear weather. For the person that is in New York, they might always just have like cloudy weather, partly cloudy weather, or whatever. So you would be, if you were in New York, you'd probably be drafting a bunch of partly cloudy and cloudy Pokemon that, you know, get boosted by those weathers. And then if you're in California, you pick a bunch of clear weather mons. So that's basically why I made it local, so that way, you know, everybody, like I live in California, so everybody is going to have, probably going to have clear weather for most of this league's run. And so it makes it interesting. It makes it a little more interesting, that's for sure. So anyways, let me talk about my draft, since that's also why I made this video, is because I do want to talk about my draft. So I am born to dream, as you guys know, and this is how I did. So I ended up picking 4th, and it was pretty interesting, because I ended up getting these two right there. And so I think the person in front of me picked Salamence, and I'll be honest, I was not targeting Salamence in this draft. I would have loved Salamence. Salamence is my favorite mon, you guys know that. But I wasn't necessarily targeting Salamence, because I was trying to pick the mons that fit my raid style, if that makes sense. So like, I like Pokemon that are very fast, right? And I like Pokemon, they don't necessarily need to hit hard, but I like them attacking. I like fast attackers because I could dodge with them. And so like, for example, if I were using, like, let's say Confusion Mewtwo, I would be more likely to miss dodges with Confusion Mewtwo than I would with, let's say, Mudshot Groudon, because Mudshot's way faster than Confusion. It might do less, but I mean, it might save me a couple times when I'm doing solos. So I know not everybody likes dodging, but that's just how I raid. I like to dodge. And so I'll be able to see just like how much I need to dodge, I guess, because I'm sure there'll be people that just straight up just attack. And so I have to sort of account for that, because sometimes straight up attacking is better than dodging. But I mean, if you're able to dodge charge moves at the right time, then it helps you a lot. Like if you're going up against a Alolan Raichu and your Groudon's about to faint, and you see a wild charge is about to go off, you dodge it, and then you can get another Earthquake off. So that's kind of how I see it when I raid. But anyways, how I ended up getting, well, so Rayquaza doesn't really fit that style, but Rayquaza is a generalist, and I really like generalists. And I mean, I think, in my opinion, Rayquaza is better for this current group of raid bosses over Mewtwo, just simply because it's strong against Machamp, and it's very strong against Tangela, and that's the biggest thing, is I wanted to make sure I could solo Tangela, because Tangela is not that easy to solo. So that's why I felt like Rayquaza was the better pick than Mewtwo. I actually did get the choice to pick between Rayquaza and Mewtwo. I'll sort of get into that in a minute, but well, I'll talk about it right now. So basically, these were the first 4 picks: was Kyogre, Gyarados, Salamence, Rayquaza, Latios, and then Mewtwo. So it was interesting not seeing Rayquaza and Mewtwo going first. I'm actually happy that didn't happen, because otherwise I would not have a Rayquaza right now. So that's basically, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice being able to pick between those two. And then after that, I got Groudon, and I was surprised as dick when somebody actually picked fucking Flygon in the second round. We're still roasting him about that, by the way. So don't worry about that. We're gonna be roasting this dude for the rest of the season. I should probably cover his name. Yeah, I'll probably do that in the editing so people don't just roast this dude. But so Flygon went 5th, and then I ended up with Groudon, which I freaking love because Groudon is fantastic in clear weather, and all of its charge moves are boosted by clear weather. So I was very, very happy that Groudon dropped to the second round, because I thought for sure Groudon would go in the first round, but it didn't. So, and then I ended up with Gengar. You guys know I have a Legacy Gengar. I use Legacy Gengar like all the time on my channel, so if you guys have been watching my videos, you guys know that I love Legacy Gengar, and a lot of other people do too. So, and the thing about Legacy Gengar is, going back to Tangela, you can use Shadow Claw Sludge Bomb against Tangela, and from what I saw, it was like the 10th best or something like that. So I could lead off with like Sludge Bomb Gengar and against Tangela, and I'd be able to solo it pretty well. That's my theory, anyways. I gotta get into the lab and see how Shadow Claw Sludge Bomb does against Tangela. But I mean, I was pretty ecstatic with these 3 picks right here, because they all work pretty well. They work pretty well together. I think Rayquaza and Gengar make very good generalists, and then Groudon might have a few problems with, let's say, trying to think of the raid bosses. I mean, I might not do as well against Machamp, maybe. I'm not sure. I would do just fine against Alolan Raichu, and then I with Groudon I wouldn't do too well against Tangela. But I have other, as you can see, I have other stuff besides Groudon. Well, besides Rayquaza and Gengar for Tangela. So yeah, the next 2 picks were also for Tangela. I guess everything I drafted was for Tangela. So, but I ended up taking Moltres, and then I took Entei in the 5th round. Again, these guys are both boosted by clear weather, so that was my thinking. I was basically drafting my team based off of clear weather, so because I'm always in clear weather. So yeah, I think that was the right strategy to go with. I'm not too much of a morning raider, and that's usually in the morning. It's usually not clear in the morning. So I'm more of an afternoon raider, I guess. But they're both fantastic in clear weather, and as long as the next wave doesn't have any water types, I think I'll be okay. That's another thing too, is like this was partially blind, so we're only going to be able to raid a certain amount of raid bosses this wave, and then next wave we don't know what the next raid bosses are going to be. This is going to be like a 6 or 8 week thing, so we don't know what the next wave of raid bosses are going to be. So that was also something I had to factor when I was making these picks, is that I just don't know what the next raid boss was. And so yeah, so you guys will see that later on. But next up, I got Alolan Executor. I needed a grass type because I really had nothing for Donphan at this point. And so, like, honestly, I don't think any of the... Groudon with Solar Beam might do pretty well. But other than that, I don't think I really had anything else for Donphan. So I had to take a grass type. I went ahead and grabbed Alolan Executor here. And again, Alolan Executor works as... It can work as a generalist because it is a dragon type. It's not the best generalist out there, but I mean, I might be able to squeeze it in as a dragon type for a few raids because, you know, it's a pretty decent generalist. It's like if you don't have, like, let's say the really rare dragons like Dragonite, Salamence, Rayquaza, Latios, those Pokemon, you might want to scoop up an Alolan Executor just because it does neutral damage to just about everything except for Fairy and Steel types. So, and it gets access to Solar Beam, so it is a good Pokemon. It is a pretty good Pokemon. Then, next one I got was right here. I ended up with Zapdos in the 7th round. The thing about Zapdos was that it wasn't even a pick that I was like drooling over. I was like, oh my god, I have to get Zapdos. It was like I literally looked at Gamepress. I was pissed off because Raikou went in like the 5th round, and I really wanted Raikou to drop into the 6th round. I knew that people weren't picking electric types in this draft because 4 out of the 5 raid bosses take resisted damage from electric types. So Raikou wouldn't be that good against those raid bosses. The only raid boss that Raikou would be okay against is Machamp. Everything else, Tangela, Piloswine, Donphan, Alolan Raichu, it doesn't do that much damage to. So that's why, you know, electric types were dropping in the draft. So I was aware of that, but I was hoping Raikou would drop to the 6th round. Didn't happen. So at that point, I was just looking for an electric type. I ended up with Zapdos, who is almost as good as Raikou. Especially now that it has Thundershock. It's almost as good. I think they're like neck and neck now. Now that Zapdos has Thundershock. But I think Raikou's still the better electric type. So I was really surprised to get Zapdos here. And a lot of people were pissed off that I got Zapdos right there. But what can I say, man? What can I say? If I just have a Zapdos sitting there in the 7th round, you expect me not to take it? Come on, bro. So next up we got Shiftry. Again, I'm worried about Donphan. So I went ahead and grabbed Shiftry here. So Shiftry is a pretty decent grass type attacker, and I can also use it as a dark type attacker. So if I'm going up against a Alolan Raichu, I could use it as a dark type attacker. I don't know if I'll do that because I don't think I have to. But I grabbed Shiftry just because it's a pretty decent grass type attacker, and you know I was pretty weak to Donphan raids, so I think my goal is, or sort of the challenge for myself is, to avoid play rough Donphan because I might get screwed over by play rough Donphan. Just go for one of the others, I guess. That's kind of my strategy with that. And then Pinsir, this was the pick I wasn't too enthused with. I should have taken Feraligatr here because I actually do have a perfect Feraligatr, but I went with Pinsir. Pinsir's not the worst because it does get access to fighting moves, and I don't have any Pokemon that have any that can't. There's not a single Pokemon here that gets access to fighting moves other than Pinsir. So if there was a normal type raid boss, I might not do as well against that. So Pinsir wasn't the worst pick in the world, but I felt like I could have done better. Just sort of in hindsight, I felt like I could have done better than Pinsir, but I that could be me overreacting. And then I went with Starmie here because, well, I didn't, again, Donphan. It's basically Donphan. I didn't really have much. I wanted Feraligatr at 9 because Feraligatr gets access to Ice Beam. It also gets access to double dark moves. So that felt like the better pick at 9th. But I got Starmie in the end. Starmie is a glass cannon, but it can do a lot of damage with Water Gun Hydro Pump. So it wasn't the worst pick in the world. So yeah, but going over some of my raid mates, for lack of better words, just going over like what else I thought was pretty good. Mew was literally the last pick, and I was thinking about taking Mew, but I couldn't do it. I looked at my Mew and I saw like, oh, I need to dump 244 candies into this thing, so I had to I had like a couple weeks to grind for 244 rare candies. No thank you. I was not about to do that. So it kind of hurt, and I wish I had my Mew a little more powered up. Because I would have loved to draft Mew, but it was just one of those cases where I just I couldn't draft Mew. And the thing about having Mew is you're gonna have to dump a lot of TMs into it, which that's not a problem for me. But it was just the candies. I didn't have enough candies for that. I mean, I was looking at Bennett. I was looking at Scizor and Bennett. But I got Gengar and Pinsir, so it's not. Gengar is better than Bennett. Scizor is better than Pinsir, but I mean Pinsir's still fine. Anything else that kind of sticks out here? I was thinking about Gardevoir, but I knew Gardevoir wouldn't reach. I mean, it went in the 4th round, but I knew I wouldn't draft Gardevoir just because there were just other options that I wanted, and so I didn't draft Gardevoir. Someone took Heracross here. I don't have a Heracross, so rip me. Anything else that really stands out here? I mean, not really. Not really. I mean, getting Golem's kind of interesting. I was kind of surprised Alolan Golem didn't get picked, but I guess people don't like Alolan Golem, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, I was thinking about Breloom too. Breloom was another Pokemon I was thinking about, but it's really glassy. Same with Sharpedo. They're really glassy Pokemon, so I couldn't go too far with the DPS. I did need some stuff that can take hits. So like I have Groudon, and I guess it's mostly Groudon, unfortunately. Entei is kind of bulky. It's kind of bulky, but it's not. I mean, if I was going up against a water type raid boss, actually I would get screwed over by a water type raid boss. Maybe I would just go with Rayquaza at the end or something. I don't know, but that about does it for the recap here. I will be uploading videos of my actual raids on the channel, so yeah, that will be coming, and you guys will see my solos as I'm competing in this league. I'm really hoping to have a lot of fun, and I think I will. As you guys know, I love solo raiding. I do a lot of solo raid boss guides here on the channel, and this is literally my favorite thing to do in Pokemon Go. So to make a league out of this, it was just a no-brainer. Like, I had to do it. Like, it was just too much fun for me to pass up. So I'm looking forward to it, and I really hope that you guys are looking forward to my solo raids, obviously. But at the same time, if you guys have a local Discord, or if you want to start up a Discord doing something like this, please do, because I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I think you guys will have a really great time. There's a lot of people in this league that are looking forward to this. By the way, these aren't the only people in my league. Like I said, I think I said at the beginning of the video, there's 24 people. Basically what we're doing is we're like dividing them into regions, and the reason why I'm doing that is because, one, the drafts won't go that slow. Like, we literally finished this in a day. Like, in one day. I was surprised as hell. Like, it didn't even take us 24 hours to finish this draft. It was just, like, from morning to night, we just kept picking until we were done. So, that's one reason. The other reason why you don't want to have, like, too many people in one region or one league or whatever is because it sort of depletes the pool. And if you have too many people in one draft, there's a good chance that a lot of people that maybe picked lower aren't able to solo some of the raid bosses that you want everybody to solo. And the whole goal of this is to beat the raid boss and beat it in a very quick fashion. So the people, like, let's say you had like a 12-person draft, and, you know, the people that are picking 11 and 12 just get a bunch of garbage, I guess, and they're just not able to, solo a Dawn fan, for example. That's why you want to make sure that you don't have too many people in a region or draft. So that's why it's split up like this. And so, yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I hope you guys could at least consider making a league like this if you guys really like solo raiding. I'm expecting it to be a lot of fun. So anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Keep living the dream. Goodbye.